Greetings, Comrade President Zingiswa Losi of COSATU and Central Executive Committee members, Comrade President of the ANC, President Ramaphosa, Comrade President of SANCO, Comrade Richard, the leadership of the Sacp, Comrade Tulas Ngese and others, as well as NEC members of the ANC and of SANCO, our international guests, and our local leadership in the province of the Alliance, including Comrade Banyaza, our Premier, who welcomed us, and we say we continue to give you support in the midst of enemies that seek to destabilize the working government of Gauteng. We greet all of you comrades present here and the liberation movement, particularly from our region, especially from Swaziland, who are still struggling for democracy and peace in their country. On the basis of time, comrades, I will summarize our message. We will release it in full, but safe to say, this 40 years, comrades, that we congratulate COSATU for reaching is not just a date to tick off on the calendar. It is a measure of struggle that has shaped the destiny of this nation, our country. We stand here also in the place of Soweto, the place of fire, the place of courage, the place of sacrifice, where workers and young people together with our communities shook the foundations of the apartheid regime. It was in these streets, comrades, that our communities and factories joined hands and the system of apartheid learned a lesson that they will never forget, that when the working class organizes itself as a class, the world moves. 40 years ago at Carrisfontein in Durban, something historic happened to build a single powerful class-rooted trade union movement, rooted not in race divisions or in craft splits, not in ethnic lines, but in the principle of one industry, one union, and as well as under worker control. That moment, the founding of COSATU was not born from comfort. It was born from repression, burning orders, factory dismissals, and the blood of martyrs of the liberation of our country. And therefore, COSATU arrived not just as an office or a logo, but as a weapon in the hands of the working class that was forged in strikes, in the stairways, in the boycotts, in the night schools and underground structures, and the open defiance of the apartheid regime to build this mighty federation to continue the liberation of our country. It is therefore befitting, comrades, that today as we celebrate, we also pay homage and honor those who paid the supreme sacrifice for the liberation of our country. That's why the poem by MZ Nzwakembuli must be properly understood and listened to. He mentioned many of our martyrs in this course leading to the formation of COSATU. We can say to COSATU, you did not struggle in vain. Countless of our communities as well participated in building a strong trade union movement. Comrade Ramaphosa went at length in this. I will not talk to this particular section. Safe to say, many of our giants of our movement, like Ray Alexander Simons and many others, were the iron backbone of the Food and Canning Workers Union, who organized the factory workers under most brutal oppressions. J.B. Marx and Moses Kotane organized the mines and became the consight of our movement. Billionaire and others built the underground worker structures and paid for it with years in prison, Robben Island and others. Comrade John Kadimeng carried the spirit of Sacp through exile, as was Elijah Bakai, the first president of COSATU, a communist mine worker whose courage shaped COSATU's character of fighting. Let us honor all others: Chris Damini, John Komomo, Violet Siboni, Connie September, Godfrey Oliphant. I saw these two seated up there, and many other founding cadres of our federation. The union indeed for us has always been understood as a school of communism, fighting for a cause towards the ultimate ending of exploitation of workers, and therefore removal of capitalism, and establish a socialist system in which the wealth of society will be shared amongst the many, not amongst the few. Therefore, we can say, comrade, without fear of contradiction, that there's no socialism without the liberation of women, and there's no liberation of women without the end of capitalism in our country. Comrades, today we face a new class war. This class war wears different clothes. It speaks the language that is polite to the workers, and yet it is the same capitalist language that destroys our workers. Capitalism, comrades, is reorganizing itself in the current period of the 21st century. The battlefield, as we know it, is within the mass unemployment amongst young people, the failure in our municipalities because of austerity programs, strangling schools and hospitals. The battlefield is in the privatization by stills through basic public infrastructure like water and electricity and the network industries. This, comrade, is not just the battlefield for the erosion of labor rights. This is not just even merely a debate. This is a class war. We must respond as workers equally and launch a war against exploitation and oppression by capital. Therefore, comrades, we also join the president of the ANC as well of Sacp in calling for unity amongst us. Our unity, comrades, must not be fictitious. It must be a unity of struggle, unity of common agenda of the National Democratic Revolution. The National Democratic Revolution, as we say, is facing serious challenges. At the moment, comrade, the divisions within the framework, within the alliance, is precisely about how we are implementing the National Democratic Revolution. Indeed, we have no choice but to find one another, to make unity not only a weapon, but the National Democratic Revolution, our program, as the central point of unity of our movement. Not neoliberalism. It is neoliberalism that is creating divisions inside the alliance. Because neoliberalism takes away what we have fought for commonly, what we have sacrificed for over the decades. It is therefore important, comrade, that the private sector today is attacking workers almost openly through casualization, labor brokering, union busting, whilst making huge profits and workers suffering. We have seen the attacks that those who are now launching this attacking from the private sector, they are wearing suits, they freeze vacancies and attack the public service and create themselves the alternative when they have also failed and are not accountable to the majority in our country. Therefore, today, comrades, as we celebrate this major achievement by our federation, COSATU, we say continue to defend your rights, continue to defend the living wage, your dignity. But we say defense alone is not enough. The moment to launch an offensive has arrived. The union that negotiates sometimes, as we know, under this crisis of capitalism, when you negotiate, you become even much more weakened. We need to launch a program of demands. In this program of demands, we must mobilize all of society. That is why the Communist Party is launching a conference of the left program in which all the left components in our society, irrespective of their political affiliation, must work together with the progressive forces, including in the alliance, to shape a new agenda, a new offensive, a new program of demands against capital, so that we can also defend the democratic government that is now sometimes giving in too much to the power of capital. And capital, when it's so powerful, it undermines even our own achievement. It is in this regard that we are expanding in our own communities what we call zones of working class control by challenging capital at the front line, in the workplace, in our communities, in the economy, in the state, through the People's Red Caravan. It is in this regard that the Conference of the Left is a battlefield of ideas and a program of action of the working class will characterized by core demands. In this regard, comrades, we invite COSATU, which we appreciate that you are participating in the steering committee of the Conference of the Left and other organizations, including our mother movement, the African National Congress, to join in this program of the Conference of the Left to continue to advance the struggle of the working class. Without battles, comrades, we cannot win victories. And our comrades in COSATU, Comrade President, as well as General Secretary Solipetwe, and the President of Nehau, we were together when we went to the Labor Court to defend the right of community workers, defended even by the ANC manifesto. We have to take this battle, Comrade President, to the courts. And we appreciate Comrade in the hour for taking this question to the court. And ultimately last week, the Labor Court gave victory to workers. Community health workers will now be employed by government and will be available to provide healthcare services across our country. That's because of class struggle that was waged by the unions, even through the courts. Long live the fighting struggle, might of the workers, long live.
Long live.
Forward to socialism, forward.
Wow.
Forward to the unity of the workers, forward. Thank you very much, comrade.
Mapaila.